Right, so let's start. Again, good morning. For today's discussion, focus will be on statement of cash flows. Okay, so primarily our focus will be on uh, direct method. Okay, so our discussion will go around it, and there's a reason why because that is the highly recommended presentation of cash flow. So which means the indirect method is just an alternative when it is really impossible for you to prepare direct method. But nowadays it's easy because we have computerized system, so you can easily generate that. Okay. Uh, so here, okay, so it's plain and simple. The statement of cash flows will be focusing on presenting, okay, how much cash you receive and how much you pay, okay, for expenses or any uh, investment that you made. And we have three major parts of this cash flow. We have operating, investing, and financing. Okay, and that is really important for you to distinguish because in decision making, we want to know where the cash is going, whether it's from your operation or you had so much investment transaction happening, or maybe you either borrowed money or paying loans. Okay, so again, it's all, most like it is more of like giving you decision making or information for decision making with regards to your money, right? Plain and simple, right? And so again, as I mentioned a while ago, these are just common questions that you can ask, okay, and answerable by cash flow. Okay, so for example, uh, where did the cash come from during the period, or where we use it during the period, and is the entity generating sufficient cash flow from operation to meet cash requirements? So these are just sample questions that cash flow can answer. Okay. So in division of cash flow, we have these three major activities. When you talk about operating activities, it's just talking about how you run business on day-to-day basis. Okay, so which means that includes generation of your revenue. Okay, also which means the receipt of the revenue or cash received from the revenue generation will be treated as operating activity. Expenses includes those payment that you made to your suppliers and salaries and other utilities. Okay. Investing activities, on the other hand, will be focusing on the investment or long-term assets. Okay. So that includes when you purchase equipment, when you sold maybe a property, okay, for cash. So any inflow and outflow will be recorded there. Financing activity, on the other hand, is different because this is focusing on your borrowings and equity. So which means when you say borrowings, those bank loans that you obtained, uh, and any shares that you issued. Last time we discussed about that, shares issued or share repurchase. Okay. Take note, the cash flows here, again, the word itself is mentioning cash flows. Sometimes in a situation where you are given some information, you just have to segregate first which are items which classified as cash flow, which will not be classified as cash flow. As simple as that. Okay. So there are significant non-cash activities which might be affecting different activities, but doesn't have an effect in cash flow itself. So what we used to do is we just put that as part of the disclosure. Okay, so just emphasizing that it's not affecting cash flow, but it might be significant for the readers to know for their understanding. An example of that is conversion of debt into ordinary shares. Okay, so that will be under investing, but financing activity. But we just want to know what happens, which might affect the decision making of the individual. Okay, but again, it doesn't really affect cash flow. Sorry about that. Okay, so next, so exchange of property, plant, and equipment. Okay, so again, it's a swapping. within the investment area, but it doesn't really reflect on your cash flow statement, but necessary for the readers to know. Okay. Right. So I mentioned to you that we have two types, direct and indirect method, which we will focus on direct method on our discussion today. But we still have to just touch something on indirect method. Okay. Indirect method is sort of like trying to reconcile uh, some information from your other statements. Okay, which I hope we have a activity later, but it's only like reconciliation wherein you start at profit. So they are assuming that you just remove those non-cash activities, then it will reflect the true operating cash flow. Okay. So intelligence, the standards encourages us to use direct method. Okay. And most of the time, if you are doing audit, okay, if you will be doing your audit, the indirect method is one of the best ways for you to check. Okay. But you can deal with that when you're talking about much further audit work. So the difference will be direct method is simple. How much cash came in, how much cash came out. That's it. Indirect method, on the other hand, you have to start from net profit, then try to adjust those non-cash activities, remove those, then eventually you will arrive at how much is the true cash came in from operation. Okay? Because profit and operating activities will be talking about the same thing. Okay? They're talking about operation, but they're talking different, or they're presenting it in different way. One is accrual, which is accounting profit, and the other one is cash basis. Okay, so that's the only difference. And if you try to reconcile that, start from profit and then remove those non-cash activities, then you will arrive at cash flow from operating activities. Okay? So this is an example of statement of cash flows that we are anticipating. So initially you need to provide cash flow from operating activities on top. Second is investing. Third will be financing. And any increase or decrease will be there, okay, on that side. Add beginning or opening cash balance. Then you will arrive at cash at ending or closing period. This amount here, recorded at the bottom, should be the same with the cash that you're reporting in statement of financial position. It's sort of like a reconciling or like trying to go around cash, starting from cash, ending with cash. It should be the same. Okay, so circling around that. Okay, so these are usefulness of that. Let's pick some. One of the reasons why it can help the investors to represent others will be, for example, reasons for the difference between profit and net cash provided or used by operating activities. This is a useful tool when you're trying to measure the performance of operating operations manager. Okay. So what you will do in operations manager is that, okay, so this is the performance. Let's say you have net profit of 1 million PINA, but on cash flow we only have like $500,000. So it's just a huge difference between the actual cash that they receive from operation, which is just 500,000, comparing with the profit reported. Normally, there should not be a huge gap. Okay, if there's a huge gap, then there's a problem. Either your operation has a problem, or the collection team has a problem. Collection team in with regards to like collecting money, huh? Or maybe you're spending too much money on operation. Okay, so that's the one of the usefulness of comparing profit against operating activities under cash flow, because you can use that in checking the performance of either operations manager, collections, or the purchasing, okay, procurement department. Okay, so you can use that. Okay? Of course, further discussion on that can be made in some unit such as business finance and investment and portfolio management. Okay. There's another one, ability to pay dividends and meet obligation, because the dividends will be shown there. How much dividends that they're paying, you will be able to know. If I'm the investor and this entity is not paying dividends, they're only declaring but not paying, okay, that's a different case. Declaring is one thing. Remember, that's only recognition of liability. Paying is another one. If I'm the investor, I'm much interested on receiving money, right? Rather than just saying, we promise you that we will pay you. Okay? So that's one thing also. Okay, so we have three sources of information for a statement of cash flow. We can always look into statement of financial position. We'll do it comparative. Current period statement of profit or loss, or additional information which are not included in this book. Now, again, as I mentioned to you, because we have computerized system, it's easy for us to just generate cash flow. Even if you have tested that in your MIOP, you will be able to do that, right? So here, we are talking about if there are other things that you need to, if you cannot do it using a system, then you can go through these statements, okay? Okay, so if you use those statements, these are the steps. We can just get the ending and beginning and ending cash balances by determining the comparative statements. Okay, and then for example, in this case, Pacific Limited cash increased by $32,000. Okay, this entered in the bottom of the statement of cash flow. Right, so I'll show you step by step, but it's not necessarily for us to really go through so much for now. But I just want you to remember how it works. So if you look at this cash flow, there is a logic behind this. Okay, so here you can see cash in 2023 and 2022 it was given. There is an increase of 32,000 there. Okay, so that's our like sort of idea. Okay, accounts receivable. Your closing is 2023, so closing 12,000, but your opening is 15. There is a decrease in accounts receivable. Now think about it. What is the usual event that decreases receivable? What's the usual event? It is when you do collection, right? Collection of money. So will collection increases your cash inflow? Yes, you're collecting money. It is, right? So in this case, that actually indicated that this decrease is what? Additional to cash flow. Clear on what I'm trying to establish? Okay. Here, inventory. Okay. Inventory, we have 130, and then on the next, in the prior year, we have 160. We have a decrease of 30. What is the instance where inventory decreases? When we sold inventory, right? Okay, so if you sold inventory, chances are we had what? Collected money. It's only an indication. I'm teaching you how it works. Okay? Prepaid expense, the same. Okay, if there is a decrease here, which means we didn't spend so much on our prepaid expense, that is sort of like a savings. If it is a savings, what does it mean? It didn't require us to pay so much. So it is sort of a saving, it will add up to the inflow. Okay, take note that it's only using that reasoning, logic. Okay. Accounts payable. From 60 it becomes 52, there is a decrease. What is the common thing that decreases payable? If you pay your creditors, right? So will that increase or decrease your cash? Decrease. Am I clear on what I'm trying to establish? So I'm telling you, when you look into the financial statement, it will give you some indication of what happened to your, in this case, statement of financial position. It will give you an idea of how much cash came in or came out. Alright? Clear? If, okay, for example, in this case, we don't have income tax payable here, but we have income tax payable recognized here. There was an increase. We haven't paid tax. Is it sort of like a savings for the current period? I'm not saying actual savings, again, logic. Is that effect, the effect is like, because we didn't pay 12,000, does it really save us 12,000? Logically speaking, yes, because we're supposed to pay 12,000, we didn't pay. Right? I'm not saying violate your system, but we're just using reasoning. Huh? Okay. So clear on increase and decrease. All right. So and the next one is determining cash flow provided by involving analysis not only in the current year's statement of profit or loss, take note, but also comparative statement of financial position. Aims to adjust activities reported in statement of profit or loss from accrual to cash basis or just converting it. Okay. Remember, some activities are non-cash and are not included, which means you just have to disclose it. So it says here, hint, as information use, take each amount and then review for take information to ensure no cash flows omitted. So this is the sort of a formula, okay? And you can use this as a reference in your work, okay? When you're trying to figure out how much is the cash inflow and outflow, okay? So cash received from customer, you have the revenue, which means that is coming from your statement profit or loss. You add any decrease in AR, of course, remove that bad debts or net of bad debts written off, and then deduct increase in AR. If you have increase, of course, net of bad debts written off. So clear on this? Okay, so it's sort of like you have to do the account, okay? And that I would suggest for you to do, okay, to solve how much is the cash receipt. So for example, in this case, okay, you have revenue from sales 975,000. There is a decrease in AR. Okay, remember that. Okay, so we have here balance 15 and then closing balance 12. Decrease. So we have 15 before, now we have 12. So we have decrease. So that decrease in AR will be added so that you will know how much is the cash receipt. Clear on how it works? Okay. Clear? The next one I think is a bit of the challenging. This one is really challenging. But anyway, this one is it. Are we clear on this? How it works? Remember the account. Huh? Okay. If you're not familiar with the accounts, it will be a big problem during the exam. Believe me, right? And this one is quite difficult. Okay, this is the most complicated of all the things I will present to you. Cash paid supplier, because you will need different items here. Okay, you need cost of sales, you need accounts payable, you need inventory. Okay, so step says here, use cost of sales and comparative accounts payable and inventory. Assume all purchases made on credit. Okay, 2 steps. Calculate amount of purchases made during the period. Okay, and then the amount of cash paid to suppliers per purchases. Okay, so unlike with cash receipt from customers, it's easier than this because this one you are required to do 2 steps. Okay, so the first thing is you have to know how much is the supposedly amount of or amount you're supposed to pay to your supplier, and at the same time how much you purchase. Okay, not purchase and how much you will pay. Okay, so I will present you this. Okay, so-called complicated calculation. So cash payment to suppliers, that will be equals to cost of sales. Any increase or decrease in inventory, okay, increase add on cost of sales, decrease in inventory deduct. Okay, so here and then what you will do is if you have decrease in payable, you add. If you have increase in payable, deduct. Okay, let's see that in the illustration. So we have cost of sales here, 660 less decrease in inventory, okay, which is 30,000. So it says in the illustration, if it is increase, add. Okay, if it is decrease, okay, you have to deduct. Okay, clear? It is really complicated. I would really advise you if you face this kind of situation, it's a good reference. Huh? Okay, and then you already have what we call purchases here, because we don't know how much is the actual purchase that we made. Okay, and our assumption, these purchases will be made on credit. Okay. So purchases says here, if you have a decrease in payable, you add. If it is increased, deduct. You have a decrease in accounts payable here, so you have to add. So cash payments to suppliers, 638,000. Okay, this is one of the most complicated part of cash flow. So I really want you to maybe later go through it again. So and just check how it works. If you do that in the account, it will explain further how it works. So you have accounts payable here. You have opening balance 60, closing balance 52, and then payments to supplier, which you determine here. Okay, which is 638,000. Okay, and the purchases you made here 630 came from this. Okay, complicated? Yes, I know. So that's why if you wanted to go through it again later. Okay, so these items are like, although it seems like really not significant, but really important in calculation. Okay, cash received from interest or dividends, cash paid from operating expenses, income tax paid, and cash payment for interest. In cash receipt for interest, it's almost the same with cash receipt from revenue. So what you will do is to do the account, same with the AR a while ago, and then you will be able to arrive from, to get the cash receipt. Cash paid, don't worry, this is not really as problematic as the one previously, okay, in purchases. Again, just the account, and then determine how much you will pay, okay? Okay, so example, cash payment from for operating activities, we have operating expense excluding depreciation, so you have to remove that. Increase in prepaid expense, you have to add that, okay? Which means, why you're adding increase in prepaid expense? If there's an increase in prepaid expense, that actually what? Possibility that you paid more. Okay, so that's why you're adding. If there's a decrease in prepaid expense, which means you didn't pay much, so you have so-called saved some. So that is actually classified as cash inflow. Okay? And then decrease in accrued expense, and you have done that one, and then increase in accrued expense. Take note, this is cash payment for operating activities, which means they're trying to add all. Okay? All expenses. So here, operating expense. Take note that that is already excluding depreciation, those non-cash expenses. Okay. Deduct decrease in prepaid expense and add decrease in accrued expense. So again, while we are deducting decrease in prepaid expense, most likely you paid. Okay. Sorry, you didn't pay. Okay, so that's why you are deducting that one because this is payment, not cash pay. You're adding decrease in accrued expense payable. Why? Because most likely you didn't pay, so it worked like a savings. So it reduced the cash pay. Okay. So income tax, you just do the account and that's it. Okay, or just follow this. Okay, so those are just examples of section operating expense. For investing activities, it's really straightforward. Okay, how much you pay for your investment, how much you receive from selling the investment. Okay, not much on that. Okay. So in investing activities, declared and paid $32,000 for cash dividend, which means this entity should be paying $32,000 for cash dividend. Notes were issued at face value in cash. There were these are long-term sources of borrowing. So which means in this case, this company issued $90,000 worth of notes, so which means they receive money. Okay. Equipment costing 180 was purchased for cash. Okay, so which means we had actually provided cash. Okay, we purchased equipment, so 180 is outflow. Equipment costing 20,000 was sold. Okay, so which means this is the inflow. Okay, of that, and there will be some sort of gain or loss there. Okay? And then ordinary shares, 100,000. Again, we acquire. Sorry, we issued this to acquire land. This is a non-cash transaction. Okay. Okay. So for equipment, if you have you purchase it 180, closing balance is 160. So we assume that there is what? This is the cost of the equipment we sold. Okay. And here we have our balance. Okay, of course, you have to get the balance. So financing, cash inflow on share issue, cash outflow will be on repaid or payment of notes and dividends. Okay. So this is the statement of cash flow that we wish to be to prepare. Just want to take just point out something. Okay, so all right. So we have cash receipt and then cash payments here. Purchases, purchase of equipment. You can see negative there. Why? Because outflow. Sale of equipment, that's inflow. Okay. Issue notes. We have inflow of cash because we issued notes. We receive money. Payment of cash dividend. We pay dividends to the shareholders, so that's why we deducted this. Take note. Here, the dividends that we pay should be, we are the one paying, nothing. We are the one paying, should be here under the financing. Dividend that we receive, okay, there are two ways to show that. Either put it in investing activities or operating activities, okay, depending on the operation. Normally, investing. Why? Because you have investment and then that's the return on your investment. Operating, especially if you are part of, or that is your part of your operation, banks, investments, right? Investment companies, they're investing money and then they're receiving dividends. That should be part of the operating activities. Okay. Tax. Okay, of course, if it is income tax, then most likely it will be operating. But if you're paying tax for other activities such as, like for example, tax on real property, then that should be investment. Clear? You have to know what is the reason why you're paying for that, or the reason why you're receiving that, and that actually will give you an indication where to report it. Okay. All right. So let's try this. We'll try to answer E 11.1 and then PSA 11.8. Okay, I want you to go through E 1.1 first, then we'll just I'll give you time, okay? So and then we will try to discuss it, and then we will answer PSA 11.8. You don't have to copy it.